Hello everyone, it's Richard here again. Speaking a bit louder this time because I've had feedback from all shorts about being too quiet, so I'll put some more energy into it, I hope. This video is basically, I've been thinking there's a lot going on right now in politics, so I thought I'd do a summary of the state of the nation really, and I may make it an annual thing, who knows. If the channel will last that long, we might see another one next year, and maybe better, who knows. So it's a long video. It's the first one I've ever made some notes for. So I've got a list of topics I wish to cover. It says governance, justice, taxation, education, health, science, transport, local services, economy, international arena, media, culture, food production, and the environment. There's maybe some other things too where I missed off, so sorry about that. But so yeah, here goes. Governance. What can we say about that? It's all about management of the economy of the country in the end. About manage resources, who does what where, where's the funding come from, and so forth. And it's just an absolute shit show. The COVID inquiry is proving that, but we knew it already. But it's just a diabolical, just how awful these people are. The system is just, I don't know what's gone wrong, but somehow the civil service has not been able to stand up to these people. It's been kind of demolished or cut down or cowed into submission, maybe. But it's not working as it should. Because these idiots getting away with murder, literally. It's an appalling situation. And there's another aspect to it. I saw Sir Lindsay Hoyle on GB News being interviewed. Now, not quite sure why he's on GB News. It's not if they want to interview him, then fine, of course, but he might wish to reconsider his appearance on particular channels. And here is there. And what really bothered me about him was he still thinks he's brilliant. He thinks he's the mother of all parliaments. He's the oldest one in the world and great and fantastic. He's perfect, wonderful. I wonder what planet he lives on. You got the government ministers who just don't turn up to be questioned. Can't be held accountable. They lie to their teeth and can't be called liars. And you got ranting and raving in P&Qs and other times. That's supposed to be good. I just can't believe it. The guy's an idiot. And justice on my list next. I've been concerned about Julian Assange for a long time. Because he's being held in solitary confinement in Belmarsh High Security Prison. It's meant for terrorists, people who don't really serious crimes. And his only crime, as far as I can make out, is to report the American war crimes. And other countries as well, not uniquely theirs. But the CIA and others clearly didn't like that, and so they want to have a go at him. And the process he went through, I'm referring to a book written by Neil Smeltzer, who's the UN rapporteur on torture and human rights and so forth. I did a video about it earlier. But his account and other accounts of the process involved is just appalling. The judge was just so biased, and trying to get people to have access to the courtroom was very, very difficult. getting any kind of journalists there or third parties or independent people in the court was just damn difficult, deliberately so. And Julian himself was barely unable to stand or talk in his defence. He barely think. In psychological confinement is used as a form of torture. It drives you mad. You get so bored. And it's really serious, unpleasant stuff. And yet it's still going on in this country, with the full knowledge of government and Parliament. Still happening, not being stopped. And also justice in terms of money, because there's a story about Prince Harry tackling the Daily Mail about some story or other. And I'm thinking, well, okay, that's fine, but what if you're just some poor sod who's, I don't know, for some reason becomes accused of being a sex pest by the Mail, say. What do you do if you're innocent? How do you get justice? You've got no money. There's another example where I helped a guy in Liverpool with a human rights issue as best I could. And I got in contact with a top shot hot lawyer in London, up-and-coming star. And he wanted 15,000 up front to take on the case. 15k for a human rights issue. Where do you get the money from? It's a bonkers system. It's just so biased towards the wealthy. It's just untrue. Why can't you have a justice which is free at the point of delivery and you pay if you lose? Why can't you do it that way? Taxation. We've got the issue where the inheritance tax is due to be cut. You know, for those people who actually exceed the threshold, which I think is about £500,000 now, or something like that. How many people actually get to pay inheritance tax? It's not that many, is it? About 30% of the population or something like that. It's just unbelievable sometimes. And there's a whole ethos of, well, if we cut taxes, stimulate business growth, which is probably very debatable anyway. But the policy, if you cut taxes, you also cut revenues to the Treasury. And as the Treasury funds 1/3 of local government, roughly, that means their services have to be cut. Because they can't raise taxes themselves. Not much. So we end up with just a appalling system. And people like companies like Amazon who make millions of pounds of profit from this country pay zero tax. It's just so unjust. Education, vital. My own mum was very ignorant, and she damaged me as a consequence as a child. She just left me isolated. I didn't get to meet anyone. I just ruined my life as an adult. It's amazing. So I know how important education is. And I think it's improving in terms of the youngsters being taught STEM skills and so forth, science, technology, education, maths. I think that's getting better, but still a lot more could be done. My mum was wise enough to send me to a grammar school My dad had to work his ass off to pay for it. And one of the best things I learned there was early on was that we were encouraged to challenge the teachers if need be, because they might get things wrong or just make mistakes or simply not know certain things. So we were encouraged to speak up and, in a proper manner, to question them if need be. So I think that encouraging natural instinct in me to challenge authorities anyway. But my point is, you don't need a grammar school to do that. All you need to do is to train the relevant teachers in the state schools, and they can do the same. And it's very useful, beneficial for people involved, but highly likely to occur, of course, because it will try as state control. And so, it just won't happen. Why do the right thing where you can do the things that keep you in power? Health. The nation's health is suffering quite a lot. Mental health stress is just increasing all over the place. Largely because of the cost of living increase, of course. Prices have shot up in recent years. And the NHS itself is under great pressure, just immense. It's been severely underfunded for a long time, not just by Tory governments but also Labour ones. And this whole idea of PFI by Blair's, is a disaster. Because now there's money being paid off to pay back the loans for these buildings rather than pay for medical services. But I say the whole thing is just is getting to a chronic stage now. Say dentist, for example, I've not had a NHS stint to work for about 3 years, I think. I had to pay $2,000 or more to get my teeth done now. Didn't want to, but I didn't have much choice. Fortunately, I got the money, but it still grieves me to have to do that. And the actual treatment wasn't any better than the NHS. The premises weren't even any better. No difference really, just the cost. Yeah, so the health of the nation is failing. There's a lot of people suffering. Science. One of my greatest concerns, because there's hardly any science in government circles at all, or media circles. The important areas, which correspond with the old world networks, there's hardly any science at all. Yet science is one of the most important aspects of life ever. It's really productive, very useful, yet it doesn't feature in government circles. There's any MP been a scientist, maybe Dr. Owen, but he's a bit of a tussle he was, but I don't think he qualifies as a scientist really, but maybe one or two. And most scientists don't want to be MPs because it's just too chaotic, too dramatic, too emotional, too irrational. So they don't go there. And the journalists don't do science either. Very few have a science background, hardly any. And so they don't know about science, don't know about COVID, don't know what to do about it, or climate change, don't report it. Of course, they don't really understand themselves, don't get it, don't come around to just how serious it all is. And so it goes on. We've got transport here as another feature, another aspect of life. Obviously, HS2 is a mess. Not quite sure what that was all about. We need better train services. Was that the best way to go forward. And now it's disappeared. What do we get instead? Some vague promises. You think bus services? I don't see how privatisation helped there at all. And go back to railways again. When we had British Rail, I remember going to a job in London once, and I could travel to from Coventry, where I lived then, to Euston, and go back on a different route via Marylebone to Warwick Parkway, because the station I think was about 5 miles from where I lived. So I get a taxi or whatever, and you know, have only one fare. But now, as happened once, I travelled to Euston, paid one fare, missed the return journey, couldn't be asked to wait, and the next train via Marylebone has to cost me another fare, double the fare basically, for what? No better service. Now it's true to say that Virgin and so forth have built stations and built faster trains maybe. But that's just money. You know, there's no advantage to having a business for the thing, because there's no competition. You know, you can't claim that it's more efficient, because they're not competing with anyone. You've been given this contract, you know, with some constraints, I guess. But the fares have gone up to cover all the costs, all the investment, and that could have happened under government over decades, but didn't. That's another strategic failure on the part of our governmental system. Local services. As I mentioned earlier, the Treasury funds about 1/3 of county council or city council expenditure, and that fund is being cut steadily year by year for a decade at least, which means the services have to be cut because the councils can't raise taxes themselves. There's a limit to how much they can actually raise by law, and so the services have to be cut, like libraries and social care and other kinds of, you know, drop-in centres, walk-in centres, which is closed now. It's really quite sickening. You get the high streets just boarded up with shops everywhere. You know. Some towns are blighted completely. The economy as a whole not doing well. I'm not particularly sure about economic growth anyway, because it's, you have to take account of the environmental impact and climate issues. But if you take that measure alone, it's still not good. We're not growing at all, hardly. There's no investment to speak of. It's very, very poor. And on the international stage, this country must be a laughing stock now. People just laughing at us. This Brexit is just a disaster, just insane. And the media is just complicit in all this. I don't know what people say, what on earth is going on in this country? It's just nuts. And we have a government which seems hell bent on breaking international laws and agreements. You just can't get away with that. It's like the Indians when Brexit was a thing, still is, but when it was first mooted. They seem to think And because there's a border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, and because we want to leave the EU, we should therefore have to be able to have a border, a physical border, between the UK and EU. And at first sight, that seems to make sense. But when you consider the whole history of the Troubles, as they're so called, and the current agreement, Good Friday Agreement, it's just a no-go. The whole thing is backed up by the USA and the EU. And the local people there will take up arms if there's any kind of physical infrastructure being built. Now, I saw a video which featured one archaeology professor who was 60 years old, who said on video he would take up arms if there's ever any kind of border posts or crossing points established. He would just, destroy them. This was an archaeology professor. Not much younger than I am. Media. You do a State of the Nation video and all these aspects are all bad. Not one good one yet, I don't think. Media. The BBC and Brexit was just a... What on earth happened there? Well, I think I know. The top people were appointed by political appointments, Tory ones. And they in turn appointed the chief editors and so forth, the top journalists, according to the same lights. And they're just so biased about Brexit, it just wasn't true. It's unbelievable. Just not mention it. Don't mention the Brexit. Don't mention the Brexit. It's just nonsense. And I say that the journalist people don't have any idea about science at all, hardly, either. A lot of them from Old Boy Network, posh schools. And it's inevitable that any kind of media outlet will have to be selective as to what it reports. And often what is not reported is the important stuff. That's what really what's missing is what you want to know. In many cases, what they don't tell you, and what they won't tell you is anything that would damage their business. So they won't tell you about advertising techniques, for example, being based on Nazi propaganda methods, like repetition works, for example. Just go bang, bang every evening until it sinks in. Buy. And in many cases they won't tell you about the government because they're all of that money mindset. Many of these outlets are run as commercial enterprises with shareholders who have to make profits, and therefore they won't criticise that model. The whole capitalist enterprise idea won't ever be criticised at all in the main media, hardly ever, because they are it. They embody that idea. Culture, by which you mean things like arts, music and literature and so forth. That's taken a hit from Brexit, hasn't it? Big hit. Musicians will have trouble, touring on the continent now because it's too expensive. too much hassle. It's just not worth doing. And you get these whole culture wars, which actually is very important because that kind of national conversation drives how people think, and that determines their behaviour as to how they vote and so forth. So this whole culture thing is actually very, very important indeed, which is why certain people engage in it so much. You know, all these kind of dead cat stories and drama and highlighting this issue, not that issue, and look over there, not here, over there, not here, not over there, not here. Food production. Another disaster. These trade deals with Australia and so forth is appalling. You're going to wreck our agricultural sector, just wipe it out. Fishing has already been destroyed, all because of ideology. This is insanity that drives these nutters to God knows what end. And I've got people saying, "Oh, we can trade with these far-flung countries." You know, like, okay. Go to the CPTPP. Can't remember now. I don't know, Canada, for example. Sure, we can trade with Canada. Not quite sure what we do trade. And in terms of food, the long journeys obviously means going to delays than shorter journeys, so it makes more sense to trade with your nearest neighbours, as we still do and still need to, because we import about 1/3 of our food. Can't avoid that. And medicines also get imported. Components for cars and things also get imported. This is going off food, but it's all related. It's just all things have been severely crippled. And environment is my final topic. Well, that's taking a blow, isn't it? Got shit in the sea, rivers, flooding. You know, climate change is going to get worse. It's already bad news, just really, really bad news, and it's going to get worse. Sorry, people, but you know, this is just a thing of the state of the nation. I should say went by the nation, I mean England mostly, because that's what I have experience of myself, being English, and I don't know much about Scotland or Wales or Northern Ireland, so I can't really speak for them. And it's true to say that the Parliament here tends to be biased towards England, even though it should be for the UK as a whole. So that's, you know, it's just a fact of life. And also, when I was researching this video, I came across a Sky data poll, and their summary is as follows. A country that is deeply divided and doesn't trust its political class or its mainstream media. One that is fearful for its economic future after Brexit. And even one that is racist or Islamophobic. That's what Sky News thought of their poll about the state of the nation. So I think in summary, we're pretty damn freaking sick. Actually known this for a long time. We've been saying this for a long time. We're a sick society. But now it's getting obvious. So I've had an incubation of decades, and now we've got the actual virus spreading out everywhere. It's kind of mind virus. It's infected everybody. It's insanity. These people who actually run the show are just so freaking ignorant. I don't know how they ever get to be in power at all. Well, I did know, because the whole system is corrupt and undemocratic and biased towards money and wealth and status and bling. That's all these tossers think about. Seriously, they're so wealthy, all they care about is status. Who's got the most gold, or whatever, the biggest house, the biggest estate, the most cars. Who can fly around helicopters, or jets. Who can show off the most. It's all got a big dog territory. They're basically brutal leaders of tribes and herds, and their followers are pretty mindless. I say it's arrogant, but it's true, sadly. Typically, like Nadine Dyer's had an adoring looks at Boris Johnson. She's quite soppy-eyed. I despair sometimes. What a country. So that's it. The state of the nation, in my view. Pretty damn poor. Make it worse. So if I do a video next year, I hope to have better news. Bye. Subscribe and like and spread the word, please. See you later.